Turning to eugenics, Breitbart put out a report on a new book, What to Expect When No One's Expecting, discussing America's coming demographic disaster. And they break down the 50, 60 years of family planning, primarily pushed by the Rockefeller Foundation and its other entities, including the Population Council, also pushed through the United Nations, through organizations like the UN UNESCO program, through the United Nations Population Fund, and of course through other private groups, the Ford Foundation among them, as well as Planned Parenthood, who provide money for supposed reproductive rights and reproductive health in all the third world countries. Now, this report calls it the left's dream, the liberals. We know it isn't that, it's the eugenicist dream, and they explain how under Lyndon Johnson, the Food for Peace Act was started, where they would use USAID, the Agency for International Development, to dangle food donations over the third world to induce them into going along with family planning, with eugenics reduction targets, the one-child policy where they can get it, softer targets where they couldn't get it. In countries like India, they impose forced sterilization. People have been killed and maimed, indigenous populations wiped out, a lot of horrible stuff, all while people like Paul Ehrlich and John P. Holdren scaremongered the American population about the population bomb that never came. They said resources would deplete and that we would outgrow our ability to survive. They even produced this family planning clip, which will tie into the larger discussion we're going to have on how they condition us through the television and the media to accept the top-down control, the draconian measures. Here's a clip that Disney produced for the Rockefeller's Population Council in 1967, scaremongering about family planning.
This upward rise is being slowed by the sheer weight of numbers, that in time, more and more children are born. With this many mouths to feed, there won't be enough to go around. Of course, there will be no money for modern conveniences. The mother will have too much to do. She'll be tired and cross, and her health will suffer. The children will be sickly and unhappy, with little hope for the future.
So that famous from one of the leading propaganda firms that targets children have put out this piece for adults to trick their mind into accepting it, tell them they'll face poverty, that their lives will be miserable if they don't do this. Meanwhile, what's really happening is this demographic fall off where there's not enough people to take care of the aging population, which sets the scene just perfectly for more dependence on government. We're entering the age of Obamacare, and now the elderly won't have enough children to financially support them. The children are tuned into media, culture, TV, don't care about their parents. And so they'll be putting into nurse homes, they'll be put into nursing homes, and they'll be phased out under eugenics, under Obamacare, under the death panels, and no one really will care. It really sets the scene for a larger depopulation, more dependence on government, and a total debasement of this country. And it is just fitting with another Urian Mason report. He, of course, has been on the cutting edge of a lot of this eugenics information, reporting exclusively for Infowars.com on the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, how they bought off evangelicals, mayors, governors, other leaders for the earth. And, of course, the Rockefeller family in general has been the largest promoter of eugenics. But under the Rockefeller's Brothers Fund, they use their grants, their donations, etc., just in the period of 2005 to 2010 to push for acceptance of Agenda 21, the goals set by the 1992 Earth Summit, to push for the IPCC and the acceptance of the global warming climate change lie, and to push for this whole green culture. And those who weren't ready to go along with family planning, those who didn't believe in climate change, those who didn't want to be part of this, were given grants, given money to get along with the program. And it's very fitting with Edward Bernays and the social conditioning, the propaganda formula, to just buy off the leaders and use that to convince the masses to go along with the agenda.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.